Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nirmal Bang. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Mr. Ilas Kamath, Joint Managing Director at Jyoti Laboratories. Welcome to the show, Mr. Kamath. My first question coming to you over here is, with regards to COVID, majority of the companies have now been talking about that FY21 as a year is something that we actually want to look at break even. However, a company like yours belonging to the FMCG sector is something which we'll be looking at uh, good amount of sales, at least to some extent in the category that you belong to. But if you have to talk about the fourth quarter, what are the number of days that you've lost in terms of total sales and how big has been the impact?
Thank you very much for calling me, and nice to be a part of your webcast. March quarter, we lost about 10 days of real sale, which is majority is started from Kerala. They stopped the sale about 12 days before the national lockdown, so it started from there. So for the entire quarter, it's about 10 days of sales. What we lost, quantum-wise, about 150 crore, and we lost about 150 crore, 50 crore of EBITDA in that 150 crore. And that was the impact. And this is only if we had done the lockdown for 1st of April, we'll have got it because orders were already there. The entire country was looking for the stock. And historically, Jyoti, last 10 days sale is about 30%. That's the way how the industry works. Because every stockist have annual annual discounts and incentives for the staff. So everybody will try to take the last minute sales because we don't sell on credit, so they need to send the money. So then nobody blocks the money. They only block in the last 1 week. That is 150 crore and 50 crore of EBITDA, which most of it we made good in April when we got the permission to sell the product.
Right. So overall, in these days of lockdown as well, if you could just help us understand what was the position in terms of the manufacturing plants, and by now that it's almost been 65 to 70 days, how much capacity utilization we've reached?
As of now, all our 26 factories are working fine, and about 80% is what we have achieved now, starting from 40, 50, 60. Now we are up to 80% as of last week, and we'll go to 100% before June 30th. So as of now, production is the constraint and not the sales.
Right. And overall, Mr. Kamath, we've already been speaking about slowdown in terms of FY20 as a whole, and we were talking of an economic slowdown already. Now, if you have to compare rural versus urban, where is it, do you think, that there has been a major impact?
Very good question. In fact, we were going through the slowdown at least for last 4 to 6 quarters, and the slowdown was mainly from rural. Uptake was not as much as should have. And in urban, we are doing very well. For that matter, all the FMCG are doing well. Especially, like e-commerce and modern trade was driving the sales. So to that extent, during lockdown, the biggest problem for all of us came as a modern trade because completely was shut. And e-commerce, they did have problem with the logistics to get the trucks from, from the factories and to warehouses to their place. And rural did not get affected as long as the stock was available. But the moment the rural went out of stock, then moving the stock to the rural was an issue during COVID period because trucks were not available. And in India, about 50 lakhs trucks should be there on the road, and we could get hardly about 10, 12 lakhs trucks only in the marketplace post April 10th, and the government of India said that you can move the stocks. To that extent, the rural starved much more than urban. And demand in the urban was almost double because people were doing panic buying, people were hoarding as much as required, 1 kilo pack went for 3 kilos pack, as if there's no tomorrow. So to that extent, the urban picked up whatever is available. Whereas rural, even if they wanted to buy, so some of the people, they didn't have enough to buy because they were already under slowdown. So the stream during the lockdown period, what we have been selling from April 10th till May 31st was by and large is urban driven, and rural was going as usual, like a little on the slower side.
Right. So from here on, if you have to look at FY21 as a whole, what's the assessment that you have so far with the quantum of sales that you've already seen between April to now?
April till now, sale may not be the way to take it the following quarters because what sales we are seeing now is unusual. Urban, buying panic, and the rural don't have the money. But going forward, there are a lot of positives out of this. One is that a lot of people are going to rural India. The purchase in rural India will go up. One number of people have gone there are in crores. People are moved from urban to rural as far migrants are concerned.
Mm.
The second one is government is spending lots of money, lakhs of crores of money is being spent. We have seen that Manrega, and also the social sector, the government is spending the money. All this money, portion of it has to come for consumption, and that will help us to build a rural through this. So whatever the slowdown we saw in the rural pre-COVID may not be there once the lockdown is completely open. So to that extent, we are seeing that now. But the more I will feel that September quarter, December quarter will be able to see complete upliftment of rural market by the government spend, because now consumption is the one which government is spending the money on the demand. It's not on the supply. We never had any problem with the supply as far as FMCG is concerned. So the urban trade, general trade is doing extremely well. There's no problem about it. Whoever is able to reach the retail outlet, he's getting the sales. There's no problem with the cash also in the urban trade, in the general trade. Modern trade, they're picking up very quickly because of now that they're allowed to open, they'll come very quickly back. And e-commerce has gone from 2 to 3% to 5 to 6%, and they're going to stay there. So the shift, what I see post this is one, rural pickup. Second is the e-commerce will do extremely well, and followed by general trade.
Right. So if we are saying that, there is a possibility that e-commerce pickup is something that is expected to pick up, modern trade probably is something which everyone is still concerned about. But do you think then ad spends is something that would be increasing on the digital basis, taking e-commerce into consideration?
Not required actually. I mean, we are, people need to spend probably 5-10% of their budget on digital marketing, but they don't have to the mainstream spend. So we spend like 5 to 6% we spend on digital marketing. It's more than sufficient. The e-commerce, they have their own way of marketing, and a fantastic marketing they do, and they know how to get the customer on board. And during COVID time, this lockdown time, people have experienced how easy to manage that. Everybody have gone on to platforms of all these big players, and now they are used to it. It's a very convenient. You get the price, lowest price. You get the fresh things, and you get the right from vegetables, fruits, and groceries. Everything you get it. So why again go to a store and stand in the queue and around a circle? Why do you want to stand there? So it helps them, to get on their house. According to me, that's why I'm saying that it's going to stay. Urban, 100% will stay, but now we are seeing that is happening in semi-urban also, and probably up to 5 lakhs population towns. You might just see e-commerce taking a new route at all. And we have seen that existing big modern trade also is trying to get into e-commerce in the kind that, okay, we deliver to your home. So door-to-door delivery concept in groceries will take a positive turn from now on.
Right. And with regards to the product portfolio as well, one thing that is positive for Jyothy Labs, at least right now, is that majority of the products are under the essential goods category. So the impact on the supply chain side, the impact overall would have been minimalistic as compared to a few other FMCG companies. Now, if you have to talk from that perspective, and if you have to look at FY21 as a whole, comparing it to FY20, what are your internal estimates telling you for the year? Because majority of the companies that we've been talking to right now are saying that our focus is going to be not probably make profitability, but at least break even. We don't really want to make a loss. So for Jyothy Labs, what's the sense that you have in terms of numbers for the year?
Top line, it will be difficult to guess because we don't know when one more lockdown will come and what happens, because we are not peaked yet as far as the corona is concerned. Very difficult to tell on the top line. But I can definitely can say that FMCG company like ours will have definitely 15 to 16% EBITDA, because that's in our control. And that's we have been demonstrating that for many years now. So 15% EBITDA is achievable, not question of a break even. We'll be doing very safely 15 to 16% EBITDA, because crude is more or less all-time low, and all the raw materials are available at more or less all-time low in the last 3 years. And added to that, we have 26 factories in 17 locations, and that's one of the reasons we were able to reach the consumer very, very quickly because we are available everywhere. So centralized production facilities, they did have problem, but not decentralized like ours. So we are able to do that. And also ramping up production is that much easier for us. One good thing which out of the COVID has come is the Margo hand sanitizer and Margo hand wash. So anything on the health and hygiene platform will have that additional, like a positive impact in the market base. In our case, 85% of our business is based on health and hygiene platform, whether it is a dishwash bar, whether it is a Margo hand sanitizer, or it's a hand wash, or the Margo toilet soap, or for that matter, even the mosquito repellent business, anything to do with, all of them are to do with the health. So to that extent, we'll have that, like edge to go to the market 365 days and sell as much as possible. So I feel that 2021 will not be as bad as anybody thinks. For all you know, it could be a little better than what we are expecting now. I'm hopeful.
Right. And do you think then the categories, especially in terms of where personal care goes or household insecticides is concerned, as a percentage of the total revenues could increase for Jyoti Laboratories? Because as we know, it's basically fabric care as well as dishwashing, which is on the top. So do you see that shift happening in terms of, market share and percentage of the total revenues?
Yeah, absolutely. You said it right. As of now, 40% of our business is fabric care, and 30% is a dishwash, and 15% each from household insecticides and personal care. So I'm, like some of the fabric care might shift towards, towards a personal care. In other words, personal care from 15 can go to 17, and the household insecticide from 15 might go to 17, and dishwash will remain there, and probably some shift might happen in the mix. But that is based on, like what we said, because of the platform of health and hygiene, you might see. And all the, especially in the personal care, the margins profile is also, like much better than the fabric care. So it's good for us if it happens.
Right. Another thing, Mr. Kamath, that we've been witnessing as a trend in the FMCG pack right now is that a lot of movement is happening from value packs to sachets. And a lot of, specialists are of the opinion that India is moving towards the sachet market. Do you think that's a trend that you have been seeing? And if yes, how do you think Jyoti Laboratories is going to catch up to that trend?
You mean that lower price point SKUs?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you said you know everything about FMCG business. You are an expert now. You see, India is a mixture of every kind of consumer. One cannot have one size for everybody. Now in urban India, I've seen that people are going from 1 kilo to 3 kilo pack, just that they don't want to go back to the retail outlet for the next 3 months. So you need to have 1 kilo pack, 2 kilo pack, 3 kilo packs also. But rural, because they don't have the money, they've come down from 250 gram to 5 rupee pack, to 10 rupee pack. Because we have scattered facilities, whatever is required for the market, we are giving that. So we do have 5 rupee pack, 10 rupee pack, 20 rupee pack, 1 kilo pack, 2 kilo pack, 5 kilo pack also, 3 kilo pack with bucket, without bucket. Whatever is required, we have. So the trend is now the sale of 5 rupee, 10 rupee SKUs is far, it's growing faster than 1 kilo, 3 kilo pack. But when it will come back, we don't know. But but the consumption wise, unit wise, volume wise, it always will be higher if it is a smaller pack because they spend more. I mean, the volume wise it will go more if they're taking the smaller packs. Suppose if you're taking a 10 rupee pack and the bucket is required even for 75%, but the entire washing powder is used there. So to that extent, the volume will go up. But some states are definitely going for smaller packs. So we are managing the both.
Right. So do you think that could have an impact on the margins?
No, our realization is always the same because the bigger pack comes with the offer, 20% extra, the bucket free. So there's a lot of consumer offer in the big packs. In the smaller packs, we don't have that. When you sell 5 rupee, 10 rupee, nothing will come free along with that. So we are able to manage the margin, either the small pack or big pack, we'll be able to manage the margin.
Right. And overall from here on as well, especially on the hand sanitizer business, I was talking to a couple of sugar companies, ISMA and all. They've been of the opinion that, the quantum of ethanol that they moved to, manufacture sanitizer, the consumption has not really matched, matched on that front, and they are sitting on huge inventory on the hand sanitizer front. What's your take on it?
As of now, it is too early because whatever the production we have, everything is getting sold because of brand Margo. It's a 100-year-old brand, and it's a great product. What you launched at 20 rupees, 40 ml, it is doing extremely well. Now we are going for the bigger SKUs of 50 ml, 100 ml, 250 ml. We are going for the higher SKUs. So the brands which has like the consumers behind that, definitely people stay with that. And this business will be sustainable. There are many people have launched it, and few will stay. You have DOs, like hundreds of companies are there, but the top 10 companies will take 90% of the business. So in the same way here, many will come and few will stay, and we are going to stay in that because it is a 100-year-old brand. It has become now the new normal to have hand sanitizer at every place, whether it's office, at home, a car, everywhere it's become a part and parcel, and it's not that expensive. I mean, 20 rupees for 40 ml, good enough for one person for the whole month. So I will let him take the risk about the virus. So it becomes a new normal, and also it becomes like I would say kind of a lifestyle. Like if you use a sanitizer, you feel that the person is like health conscious. To that extent, according to me, it's a business to stay.
Right. And overall, on the employee front as well, any issues that you face on the migrant labor side, especially if you have to talk about the people working in the factory, people working on the sales, on the field as well, because a lot of them, to my knowledge, have always been coming in from UP, from the northern side. And I think everyone was in a hurry to move back to their villages to be with their families. So any disruptions on that front?
Not for us, fortunately, because the culture of Jyoti is a little different when compared to other FMG companies. One is we don't believe in contract labor as much as others believe. Second, we don't believe in outsourcing as much as others believe. And when you have your own factories, and all our factories, Odysseus factories, are in rural India. It is not in urban India. And some of the factories, up to 80% of our employees are women labor. Generally, migration will not happen there, such kind of a thing. So we always take the people from the adjoining, villages. Most of them are, come to walkable distance. So with that, when we started the operation, we were able to get the labor very quickly because they're all have to just walk and explain to them about what social distancing are all about. And they have not even heard about, they have heard about Corona, but they have never seen anybody in their village. So we have to explain to them in that area, whether it is Jammu or whether it is in Assam or whether it is in Midnapur, we explain to them. And then we started the factory, we are perfectly fine. So there is no migrant labor component in our factories. So that was no problem. And the second one is that, yes, there is did a fear for us, our sales force, more than 2,200 people in the marketplace and visiting the retailer, wholesaler. Wherever possible, we are trying to make the sales contactless. So we are talking to them on the phone. We have our own app called Distiman, in that they're able to place the order. But nothing is better than meeting them and negotiating especially the scheme. So we are telling our people to be careful as much as possible, protect as much as possible. But an element of risk is always there when they are at the market. To that extent, we are managing so far. No COVID positive as of now.
Right. So, but have the people on the field already started work right now? Or are you also looking at phases?
No. In fact, our field force, some of the states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala, long time they started back because we got the passes also for them to go to the marketplace. And the government of Kerala and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, they were very, very proactive and they opened up on April 10th. So they used to give us the e-passes and they used to give us the time between 6 and 11 in the morning to supply the stock. So nobody's there on the road. So you go early in the morning, open the retail outlet and give them the stock and come back. And then they used to allow the retail to open between 11 and 5 or 11 and 6 in Karnataka. So to that case, there is no connection between the retailer and the consumer and the supplier. So all our supplies used to happen between morning 6 and 9 in the morning. So to that extent, absolutely it was seamless. And all of our people will, they protect themselves and more or less the normal sale is happening. In South, there is no problem with that. Followed by East, then North, and then the West.
Right.
Maharashtra and Gujarat is still a problem.
Correct. Yeah, because the way, the lockdowns have just started to being lifted. So I think it's going to be a slow and steady process from here on. And overall, if you have to look from, the current perspective, in terms of manufacturing as well, a lot of rules and regulations that have come in from the government in terms of social distancing, in terms of, I mean, how you need to run everything. I mean, in terms of the number of shifts that you have, is that coming in as a concern, especially in terms of number of people working in the factory, where you need to then restrict it?
Initially, yes, because nobody knew how to manage the social distancing as per local authorities concerned, and you need to get a permission from the local authorities and the district industry center. So they come to a factory and they see the space, and then they'll decide like, how many people can be there. And in reality, our kind of factories are huge factories, and we have at a shift 150 people, and it will be like one football ground will be our size of a factory. So when they come and they see the 150 people is not even visible in a factory like that. So they say it's perfectly fine. You can work with 100, then go to 120, then go to 150. And Jyoti, barring few factories, we always work on a one-shift basis only, because you're dealing with the rural India, you're dealing with 70% of their women. So generally, you tend not to go for the second shift unless it's really required. To that extent, wherever we need to go for the third shift, second and third, we have already gone. Wherever we are operating single shift, we are working still as a single shift. Overall, I'm able to take 80% of my installed capacity, which is good enough. You go to 85, 90, and 100 by June 30th. And every time you want to increase the people, you need to go back to the DIC, bring them, show them what you're doing it, and they're happy, then you can take extra number of people. As of now, that's not an issue for us, because these are huge factories what we have. And even otherwise, distance between one plus other person is more than 6 feet before they also. So there is no problem.
No problem on that.
That's the things like sanitization and educating them and telling them how to come in a different shift, and between the shift differences, and sending them for lunch with half an hour break or everything. All the things we are following. There's no problem.
Right. And has liquidity been impacted on this front, especially from coming up the ladder, because retailers were in a soup right now. I mean, for them, selling premium commodities or premium FMCG products was actually giving them higher margins versus the essential commodities. Now, when premium, the non-essentials were not really getting transported, liquidity was an issue for the retailers. So in turn, if you talk about the entire chain going to distributors, wholesalers, was that coming in as a problem towards the manufacturer, that is Jyothy Laboratories?
No, actually, it was an opposite. For us, it was an opposite. I know I'm sure you'll have experienced the same thing. When the lockdown happened, it was complete nightmare for everybody. What do we do? And when the factories were shut down, the warehouses were shut down, distributors shut down, and there are hundreds and hundreds of trucks which are there on the road for which we had already taken the money, and we had to supply the goods. All the trucks were also stuck on the road. Hundreds of trucks were there on the roads. Now, at that point in time, we don't know how to react.
Correct.
The first clarification we got on 29th of March when MHA gave the guidelines. The first clarification, okay, this is the way we are going to operate now. And the second, we got the clarity on April 10th, saying that you are essential goods, and this is non-essential goods, and this is grocery, and this can be sold, that cannot be sold, this shop can be open, that shop cannot be open. By then, all our stocks were there in the warehouses. As I said in the beginning, that about 150 crore of sale, if I lost, that stock will have been there in the factory and at the warehouses. So we were quick to go to the market because we had the stock. The second one, retailers sold everything for cash because people are standing in the queue and they wanted to buy as much as possible. So quickly, we even though we don't sell anything for credit to our distributor, but distributor was giving the credit in the marketplace also. He recovered the cash very quickly because there is no other person to supply. So that people were moving from one place to other place, searching for a product, and there is the question of giving the credit. Surprisingly, huge liquidity came to the distributor from the marketplace. Lot of trade schemes were discontinued during April and May, saying that product is only not available. Where is the question of 12% will come? Where is the question of 12% will come? Now nothing is there. So they were able to liquidate their stock in April and May completely, recover the money also. So to that extent, June, July, I don't know, when everything normalcy sets in, we don't know. But market credit was completely taken out, cash was collected, and schemes were removed during the month of April and May by the distributor, not by the company. And the distributor did a good returns on his investment.
Absolutely. So this was a different phenomenon that we've seen. Secondly, and my last question, Mr. Kamath, coming to you, is that a lot of, MSMEs, a lot of startups that have come in the FMCG segment as a whole. And due to this pandemic, what has happened is sustainability has become a problem. As a brand, I mean, as a conglomerate, would you be open to looking at acquisitions in the FMCG space, which probably could be related or unrelated products?
At this point in time, generally when people are desperate to sell, it's not good to buy because they're selling it just because they know they are desperate. All I'm seeing is that government is helping them a lot, and we are also helping. In our case, a lot of vendors, we release the payment before 31st of March itself. A lot of vendors, so we release the money before 31st of March, even though it was not due, because we know that if you give them, they'll give it to their labor, and during the tough time, they'll supply the raw material quickly. So,
Correct.
answering your question, whether we'll be open to look for any acquisition, in any other progressive company, we are always looking for. If any good company comes wherein we can work together, the final buyout, probably yes. But at this point in time, none are there. And many like me will be waiting. So to that extent, demand and supply rule will decide the price. And at this point in time, there's none. But we will be open. Absolutely, we'll be open if any such.
Right. And what kind of categories would Jyoti Laboratories be looking at?
We'll be very happy in the category in which we are, so that like a scale advantage I get, unit economics will work better, and like the way how we acquired Henker's India business. Any such opportunity where we are in that space, it will be easier to manage and convert into like a good business. But having said that, if we get any adjacent area like personal care or hair care, probably we don't mind looking at it, because in the past we didn't have personal care. We got personal care through Henkel acquisition. Now we have built that business from 60 crore to 200 crore. So we know that it can be done. So similarly, if I get adjacent category, it can go through the same factory. It can be produced. It can be produced on our factories. If it can be through our same sales and distribution network, probably I don't mind looking at it if such opportunity comes.
Absolutely. I think that will be a great expansion plan as well from here on. But thank you, Mr. Kamath. Thank you for joining us on the show. It was a pleasure having you. Great insights that we've also picked up. I hope you enjoyed the discussion as well. And stay safe is something that I think we all are preaching right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very kind of you.